Hey programmers, Alvin here. Right now let's go over LeetCode number 246, the Strobogrammatic number problem. So in this problem we're going to be given a number as input. What we want to do is figure out whether or not it's Strobogrammatic. And what that means is the number should look the same when it's flipped 180 degrees. So for example, given 6889, if I actually copy it over here and I spin that 180 degrees, it actually ends up looking the same. So I should return true here. Let's go over another example. Let's say my input was 962. If I actually flip that 180 degrees, it looks really different. So I should return false in this instance. It is not strobogrammatic. All right, so let's go over the strategy for this one. The first thing we'll want to do is figure out what digits or what characters actually look like other numbers upside down. So here's all 10 digits. Now let's spin it 180 degrees. We can compare each. So there are a few characters that are really obvious here. For example, 8 matches up with 8, and also 0 matches up with 0. And in the problem, they also tell us that 1 should match up with a 1. 6 turns into a 9 when you spin it 180 degrees, and 9 turns into a 6 when it's 180 degrees. What you'll notice is many of these characters, when you flip them 180 degrees, they actually end up looking like themselves. That would be the case for 0, 1, and also 8. However, a very important circumstance is when I have a 6. When I spin the 6 180 degrees, it turns into another character, right? It turns into the 9. And kind of the inverse is also true. A 9 turns into a 6. And so to actually store this information, it'd be really nice if you have like a key value pairing where you can look at a character and figure out its flipped version. And that would look like this. So like we see, I have all of my characters matched up, and we were sure to encode information like 9 maps to a 6 when you spin 180 degrees. We should store this information in a hash map because we get constant time lookup. We also have very natural key value pairs here. I'm going to call this my inverse hash map. All right, now let's go over an example. Let's say we had this input string. In the long run, we should end up returning true because this is indeed a string that looks the same if you actually spin it 180 degrees, like so, right? It still reads 68189, either way, right? But how can we come up with the logic for this? Well, the key is what you want to do is iterate through your string and look at corresponding characters. In other words, when I'm looking at the first character, I want to compare that to the very last character. We'll call these our front and back pointers. And as we iterate, we want to look at corresponding characters. So I compare the first to the last, then I compare the second to the second to last, and then the third to the third to last, and so on, until I'm done iterating through my entire string. Now let's go over the specific logic here. So when I'm on this first iteration, I'm comparing the first character to the very last character. What I want to do is look up my starting character inside of this hash map. And I can find it right here, right? The key is 6. And it tells me that the corresponding value is 9. So that means I should find a 9 on the other end of the string. Because I have a 6 in the front, that means I need a 9 in the back. That would actually be true right now, because I do have those two characters. So I'm good to go. I need to go to the next iteration. So I move my pointers. Now I look at the second and the second to last. And again, what I do is I look up my front character inside of my hash map. And there I find it. Its corresponding value is an 8. So that means I have an 8 in the front and I need an 8 in the back. And I do. So I've actually verified these two characters as well. Finally, on this last iteration, you'll notice that both of my front and back pointers, they actually point to the same character. But that's okay. I can still run the same logic because 1 should map to a 1 as well. And those match up. My front character does match my back character. At this point, I'm done iterating through my entire string, so I can just return true. Do note that when your string has an odd number of characters, on the very last iteration, your front pointer and your back pointer are going to point at the same character. But you still need to verify if it exists inside of the hash map. For example, think of a string like this. Right, we know that when we actually spin this 180 degrees, this does not match up, right? The 4 in the middle doesn't look like anything, so it should be invalid. So just bear that in mind. Let's go over another example, like this one. So here we have 69189. When we actually spin this 180 degrees, it does not look like the same number. The number starts 691, but when you flip it 180 degrees, it actually reads 681. So that's why we return false here. Let's go over the logic. We're going to start in the same way. So we have our front pointer and our back pointer, and we look up our front character in our hash map, which I find right here. It tells me that the corresponding back character should be 9, which is exactly the case right now. So I verify these two characters as correct. And so I go on to the next iteration. Here's where things get interesting. When I look up my front character in the hash map, I can go ahead and find the 9, but I notice that things don't match up here, right? My front character is a 9, and my rear character should be a 6, but I actually have an 8 inside of my string. That's where things go wrong. So at this point, I found a mismatch. I can just automatically return false. It's not the case that this number is strobogrammatic, right? It doesn't look the same when it's spanned 180 degrees. All right, that's really all there is to this algorithm. Let's go ahead and summarize the complexity here. If we say that n is the length of our string, the time complexity here is just going to be O of n, coming from the fact that we just iterate through the entire string. Let's say we had a very long string of 1s like this. You can imagine I have my front pointer at the beginning and my back pointer at the very end. We just bring these closer to each other, one step at a time. On a single iteration, we move the front pointer to the right, and we also move the back pointer to the left. So really, the number of iterations you need is n over 2, because you really take 2 steps at a time. But because we're using big O notation for this, you can simplify n over 2 to just n. That's why the time complexity is just O of n. The space complexity here is just constant. Although we use a hash map to store our inverse information, that's going to have a fixed size, right? Notice that the literal hash map you're going to create, it's only going to have 5 different entries. And so we say that it's constant space. All right, so let's go over the code for this one. I'm going to start by creating that hash map that I could refer to all of the characters as well as their appropriate pairs. So I'll call it my inverse char, make it a Python dictionary or a hash map in whatever language you're using. I'm going to have 1 matches up with a 1. I also need 0 matches up with 0. And there are a few other pairs here, right? What I'm going to do is also have 6, should correspond with 9. And also 8 matches up with 8. And finally, I need 9 and 6 here, right? So 9 matches up with 6. Great. And so I know that if a input string is going to be strobogrammatic, then it needs to have only these types of characters, right? So I'm going to start iterating through my num, and do bear in mind that num is actually a string type here. So be careful there. And I'm going to actually grab just the index. So I'll say for I in range from 0 up to length of num. And like we said in the whiteboard, what we want to do is grab corresponding characters at the front as well as the back, right? So I'm going to grab front. Your front is just going to be I, or rather the num at I. So grab that character. And your back is going to be the corresponding character at the end, right? So I'm going to show you how to write this manually. Then, of course, I'll show you the nice Python way of writing this. So if you're writing this in like another language, you have to be a little careful with your index arithmetic here. So I'm just going to have a little example here. I'll say it's 6, 8, 8, 9. And below it, I'm just going to label the indices. So they go 0, 1, 2, 3. Great. So we know that on the first iteration, I is going to be index 0, so it's going to be element 6, right? And what we want to do is have that correspond to the very last element, right? We know that in general, to get the last element of a string, or the last index of a string, you could do length minus 1. So in general, if you do the length of num minus 1, it would always be the case that this expression refers to the last character in your string, right? If you want to have this always match up with the appropriate character, then you want to additionally subtract I, right? So on the first iteration, I is going to be equal to 0. So you grab this character. And then in this, you're going to do 4 minus 1, right? Which is 3, minus 0, which is still 3, right? And so you would grab the 6 and the 9, which is good to go, right? On the next iteration, I is going to be 1. So you're going to grab this 8, and you want to match it up with this 8 over here. So we'll check our math. We do 4 minus 1, which is 3, minus another 1 is going to give us 2, right? And that would give us the correct correspondence. So this is a general pattern you can use to track characters at the front and back at the same time. But if you're in Python, you could just simply write this as -1 minus I. Great. Because in general, -1 is always going to refer to the last character of your string. And then from here, what I want to do is now check things. So I'm going to check if I have a mismatch. I'll check if front is not equal to inverse char of back. Great. And if that's the case, I want to return false. And the place you want to return true is only after you're done verifying everything. So you write a late return true here. Great. Let's just go over maybe this small example just to make sure we're trending in the right direction, right? So we know on the first iteration, we have our 6 as our front and the 9 as the back. And here I'm checking if the front, in other words, if the 6 is not equal to the inverse character of the back. Well, just bear in mind, back would be just the 9. So when I grab the inverse character of the back, right, I'm keying in with 9, I'm getting the 6, right? So this is checking if 6 is not equal to 6, right? Which is false, so I don't return false here. That's why ultimately I actually verify this is true, which is good to go. Great. There is something missing from this code, but we could fix it together. It's a pretty common mistake, so I want to kind of debug it. So you'll notice that I'm failing on an input where I have 962, right? And really, I'll just kind of cut to the chase here. Notice that I have a 2 in my input string, right? And so if you actually look at our code here, 2 is a character that doesn't actually have an appropriate inverse pair. If your string contains a 2 in it, then it can't possibly be strobogrammatic. If a character just isn't present within the inverse char, then I just want to return false as well. So I'll extend this. I'm going to check if the back character is not in inverse char, then it means I have something like a 2 or a 5, something that just doesn't even have a pair. So I want to automatically return false. So I'll go ahead and give this a run now. And there we have it. I hope you found this video helpful. If you enjoy my teaching style, then I think you'll love my full Data Structures and Algorithms course at Structy.net. At Structy.net, I've designed a beginner-friendly DSA course that is way more effective than just grinding LeetCode. The truth is, like you've probably felt, LeetCode is not a great platform for learning algorithms because there's a steep learning curve and the explanations are all over the place. But in my course, I've designed each problem so that it builds on top of the last, so you'll really feel the progression. The best part is, I'll be there to explain each problem using the same clear animations and code walkthroughs that you saw in this video. So if you want to prep for your interviews without the frustrating LeetCode grind, then head to Structy.net. You can start for free today. I'll leave a link in the video description if you're interested. I'll see you there.